prevent guys from getting hurt if they get in a wall or something, or have a big off in turn one. But I think that for me the big thing really is that when you start going around at speeds like we do at super speedways in between walls, safety becomes a bit of a second measure, and I don't think you can get into any kind of accident on a road track that would potentially look anywhere near as bad as it can on super speedways going 230. So yeah, I was one to ask the question actually, hey, why are we not going to Road Atlanta? And I've been told that it was just too dangerous. But yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Couple of great questions here. One from Kite and Bommersbach. He says, it's been a great few years to be a Bourdais fan. He says, Sebastian, how did you develop your liking for a car setup that maybe some others would say had too much understeer? Is this something that came naturally to you from day one, or something you discovered somewhere along in your career that made sense to you?
I'm not sure I understand the question, but
he's asking
to understeer as far as which car we're talking about.
Yeah, I think it's more, you have a general reputation, maybe sounds strange, but your preference for having the rear of the car planted and preferring understeer if you have a handling dynamic, a preference for dealing with understeer than oversteer, I think is one of your reputations. So he's asking,
okay,
is that something that comes to you naturally, or something that you found while driving, like, aha, this is what I like?
No, yeah, I mean, I think it's just, obviously it depends on the car, but yeah, if I have to pick about, a balance, and I tend to produce far better lap time if the back of the car is very secured on entry, because I can really dig deep on entry and brake late and lean on the rear to stay with me, but it still has its limits, and that's where we are at with the new Aero kit right now. I find myself wanting some security from the rear to be able to challenge the car and push it on entry, but in the meantime it is extremely difficult for us right now to keep the front as you get off the brakes and get to minimum speed. That growing understeer is also a massive issue. There's a few different degrees of understeer. There's the understeer where the front of the car is, it's sliding a little bit, but you still have some adjustability and you can get to the apex, and you're not shooting blind. You don't feel like you're guessing. And then there's the understeer where the car just plows the front and it just becomes numb and unresponsive, and it doesn't really matter at that point if the rear is secured or not. You're just not going to produce any lap time. So although I prefer that over a wicked loose car, the big thing is at some point the clock talks, and there's preferences kind of go out the window, and right now we're at the crossroads where maybe I'm just gonna have to accept that the car is inherently gonna have some characteristic that is just gonna dictate that maybe I just gonna have to revise a little bit my standards and try and deal with a bit looser of an entry, and in order to have less understeer at the apex.
So here's a follow-up question from Nick Wright, which is great, and I wanted to celebrate you a little bit here, but he's calling me out. He said, Seb, was a St. Pete win even more gratifying knowing that some folks, including a certain blasphemous weekly IndyCar podcast host, thought you might struggle a little bit with the understeer that has been, with the oversteer that so many drivers have said has been part of this new Universal Aero kit. So I wasn't sure if you were going to be able to find the setup that made you happiest with the car. Obviously you did, and then won St. Pete. So Nick is basically calling me out for a question or prediction that was wrong.
No, you were not. You were not wrong. I think at St. Pete we're about 2 or 3 tenths off of where we need or want to be. And like I said, we make the rear better. We just get a ton of understeer. we try and get some front grip, and we end up having, just a very, very unstable rear. So we're still at those crossroads where we're having to make a compromise, and I'm not quite sure, yet as where I'll perform the best, but we're still searching to try and get a balanced car because, first and foremost, although I might have a preference for a tiny understeer over oversteer, it's still got its limits, and I'd far rather have a car that is balanced.
So absolutely.
We're still looking for that, and we haven't found it yet. But working on it, and it was. I think the win in St. Pete was very special for many different reasons, but not particularly because we're still searching or whatever. I think it's we're still a small group. We have we're trying to develop things. Sully and Jimmy coming on board with Dale was a big thing. There's a lot of things that kind of happened a bit late, but obviously Sully and Jimmy brought Sealmaster, just a big sponsor, a big name. Every single one of these guys, franchisees, were out there.
Yeah, that was
first race.
That was huge too. Seeing all, it's one thing to win with new sponsors on for the first race. What I thought was cool, and this was long after most people had left Victory Lane, is I don't know how many people, from Sealmaster were there, but there were dozens of people who were so fired up, like, oh, cool, and we won on our first time. Like, that's energy you really want to see in the series, because you hope that they come back and say, hey, we're going to add 50% to what we spent last year, whatever it is, but it's, it was just cool, positive energy to see.
It sure was, and you really couldn't write a better story and a better start. And so, for all these reasons, also obviously being my first race, winning since my return, and it was just a very emotional day, and just a great story all around.
Nick, I think you're an early contender for Question of the Week, because as much as I love giving people a hard time, I fully expect to get it back, so great for calling me out. Sticking on this topic a little bit, though, Seb, and again, this is just me saying positive things about a friend. Among the many things that I loved about your drive in the race at St. Pete and the win there was, further proof that while your preference is an understeer that you can manage, manageable understeer, functional, not something dreadful, but that's, your preferred comfort zone, your adaptability, man, whether it is an aero kit that now doesn't let you get to that place that you like as much as you once could, jumping into a Ford GT, a prototype, whatever, while we know that there might be one handling condition that fits perfectly with you when you can get there, I think what we saw at St. Pete was just further proof that among drivers who have all-round adaptable skills, we can throw you in anything, man, and you're going to get speed out of it, whether you're loving its handling or not loving its handling. Do you appreciate that about yourself, that you can do that? Because not every driver can claim those same skills.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're talking about slightly two different things. One being obviously jumping from one car to another and adapting to a different way of driving, different limits, different grip level, different aerodynamic loads, different tires, different everything. And then balance. Balance is the one that I tend to struggle the most with. Changing cars and adapting to different cars and different limits. That's the thing that I think I tend to strive and just really enjoy all around, just because it's a challenge for me. It's something that I've done for a long time, and I really, really very much enjoy. It just takes the routine out of your game. It keeps you on your toes. You drive in the middle of the day at Sebring in the heat, and then you jump back in the car and it's dark, and you're guessing the apexes, and there's a lot more to it than meets the eye, and that really is something I very much enjoy. I wouldn't say my versatility about balance is my strong point. So I'm not sure I would appreciate that for myself. That sure has been my limitation in my career and my skills in general for as long as I've been driving.
All right, well, then you're a horrible driver, and you should be ashamed of yourself. All right, we're going to move on to Jackie Fahey. I dig this because you and I share this same condition. So this question for Sebastian. As you race wearing glasses, are they specifically strengthened to withstand the rough conditions experienced on track? She says she's always amazed how they survive whatever impacts they go through.
Well, actually, about that, actually, I'm surprised, but those glasses I'm wearing actually went through the crash in India. I was damn surprised that they didn't break. But the glass is actually cracking, so I need to get that fixed and changed. But no, it's nothing special. It was the Tag Heuer frames with nothing around, just the glass, and I've been wearing those as you know for many years. But they've discontinued that, so I need a plan B. I need a new technical partner on that front.
Ooh, well. I don't know if Sealmaster can fix your cracking glasses, but I mean, that might be the first stop there, Mr. Sealmaster Bourdais. But I mean, do I need to schedule an appointment for you at LensCrafters or something? I mean, come on, man,
I don't know. There's a couple of different brands that seem to be doing something pretty similar with frameless and just kind of flexible branches that would fit and slide right through like those are right now.
Well, I've got a wide head, so finding glasses that actually fit my freaking primordial dome, that's my challenge. But all right, let's move on to Daniel Kincaid. Daniel, you're kind of pulling at my heartstrings here. He says, Seb, what was driving the Peugeot 908 like? He says it seemed like an amazing car, and shame, he says it's shame it was never able to beat Audi at Le Mans. Well, that's not true. It did beat Audi at Le Mans in 2009, but...
that's the thing, man. We kept beating them and beating ourselves in the process. So that's the real shame. To me, the one time we actually really just fair and square got beat by the Audi was unfortunately in 11 when we lost the race with Simon for 13 seconds. So that was the heartbreaker, and that's the year they had the better car. But most every other year except the first year in 07, 8, 9, 10. We had the better car. We just beat ourselves over reliability and things like that. But
where does that car fit among the beasts you've driven? Because I'm sure a lot of folks will gravitate to the champ cars you raced, the Formula One car you were in. Having seen both the twin turbo diesel V12 and also the ladder V8 version, I can say, to heck with hybrid systems and whatever, these were some of the most explosive vehicles off a corner I have seen in any time. And then just, oh my God. Tell us about this, Seb. I'm drooling here just thinking about these days.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really cool car. The first version of the 908, when we went to the big front tires in 11 with the V8, it wasn't as good. There was less potential on the engine, and really it was just kind of being restricted. But I remember testing at Paul Ricard, and one of those numerous sessions we used to do endurance and development over there, and it was 30 some degrees. It was really, really cold, and so obviously the intercooler temperature was extremely low, and that thing, when that was happening, was making so much power. That day we probably had close to 900 horsepower with those temperatures, and that thing was just a beast. It was one with the diesel philosophy and the way the RPM and the power curve and the torque curve behaved. It was one of those cars where going up a gear you'd get a kick. Because the power and the torque was falling off, and you'd get the next gear and you'd get right in peak torque, and it was just insane. So definitely right up there. The panos in champ cars on road courses was probably my best memory as balanced car and commitment and everything involved. That lap we did at Road America, which was